Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Technology Show, where our experts translate geek into regular speak. How do you feel about mixed reality versus virtual reality? And what are your thoughts? Gadgets or games? And where exactly are you on the battlefield of Windows versus Apple? Stay tuned for our special geek guests. And now, it's over to our Techsperts.
It is that time of the week, the time for awesomeness. It is the Technology Show, TechKnowledgy, where we translate geek
into regular speak.
That's it.
Every week.
I think we have to apologize.
For what?
There is a hell of a noise outside. So besides the cool cafe vibe that we normally have going with cups chinging and glasses breaking and all those other cool things, we've got some badass construction truck outside that's drilling, man. I don't know what they're drilling for, but they're drilling.
No.
So, guys, sound quality is a little bit bad this week. It's not our awesome cam. It's our idiots outside with their van. Oh, look at that.
Definitely not drilling for oil, that's for sure.
Do you want to do a weather chat quickly?
Weather chat, check in. It is drizzling. There's been sun, so it's sort of sun showery. Apparently this week, if you're listening to us every week, there is a cold snap planned for today. I haven't felt it yet, but get your...
It was a bit chillo as walking down. I must say, it's definitely a drop. Well, now that we've done our meteorological service...
Straight into app of the week.
So I have mixed feelings on this app, and that's probably because I spoke to you when I was talking about doing it. I'm going to start off with what I like about the app, and then you can remind me what we don't like about the app. But the app is 7-Eleven, like the convenience store, 7-Eleven Fuel. So they have a fuel app. So I'm just going to explain that. Wow, that's loud. Can you hear that? Well, obviously you can hear it. We're in the same studio. The 7-Eleven Fuel app does a really clever thing. Then this is the part that I like. It listens. It listens. I'm listening to this noise.
If it listens or not, but...
It positions where you are, and then it checks the petrol prices at the 5 closest 7-Eleven stations near your vicinity. Now, for the listeners in South Africa, where petrol is regulated by the government, here it's not. So we look for prices that can change as much as 17, 18 cents over a 10k radius. I've seen that. Which
is crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's always about the areas. The better area that you live in, the more you pay. I mean, they just kill you. I must be honest, I just go to the one down the road from me because it's convenient, and when I'm running out of petrol, it's the closest. So I thought I'd try the app. So I pushed the button, it searched 5 stations, and it came back to me with a price. Now, at that moment in time, you can choose to lock in the price, and you have 7 days to use that price.
Yep.
They also tell you, because I was like, well, what happens if the price goes down? They actually tell you on the app that if the price goes down, you will get the better price at the pump if you're there at that moment in time. So why is this bad? Well, it's bad for 2 reasons. It's not bad. We're the things that we probably didn't like. First of all, you have to prepay. You have to put money into the app in order to buy. So you're actually buying a voucher. That's what you're buying. So for some people, that's not cool. They don't want to put $40 or $50 into an app when they might not necessarily use it in the immediate future. But the second thing you pointed out, Arya?
Well, there's a couple points.
Okay, well, let's start with the main one, the geography location one.
Yeah, the main one is I'm sitting here and I tap, find my best local price.
Yes.
Click it, and it finds the 5 7-Elevens around me, which are around the city, which is obviously going to be more expensive.
Sure.
Now, if you lock it in, and yet you're going to an area that has cheaper gas, you've lost the opportunity to find cheaper gas, right?
Yes. Petrol.
The petrol, yeah. Gas.
Gas.
So as Brett had mentioned before in the conversation, was when he ran out of gas, he was like, petrol, I need it now. Found it, putted over on remaining fumes in the petrol tank, and
Potato.
saving the money. Now, if you are an avid, you don't really care exactly where your petrol comes from, then you are going to go to some of the cheaper petrol stations. And over here, unlike other countries, you can trust the petrol, right?
Yes.
So you will find up to a 15-20 cent difference.
Yes.
If you scour it.
The problem is when you scroll down on the app. Sorry to cut you off like that, but when you scroll down the app up to now, I'll use Goldburn as an example, which is just outside of Canberra. It's probably 20 cents a litre cheaper than Sydney, and yet you can't lock that in. So I know that's one of the things that does bug you. I even looked at the Blue Mountains. That was about 10-11 cents cheaper as well.
Yep. So
I understand why they don't want to do that. They're trying to give you the best price in the area, but you're not getting the best price that 7-Eleven has.
And like you said, if you lock it in for 7 days, you could be out in the middle of nowhere, show up, and it's like 133, and you're paying 151. You're like,
correct.
Wait a minute, right? Now, obviously, you don't have to use the app, know. Speaking of using the app, can you talk a little bit about what happens when you, what the requirements are?
So, if you put money into the app, so just to that point as well, the fact that you have to prepay it, so you need money in the app. So you put your money in the app. You could wait until, if you knew you were going interstate or down into the country or something, away from the city, let's call it that way, you could wait until you get there and then lock in. So you could do that. If you know you're going away, don't lock in now. Lock in when you're away. But the benefits of that, first of all, I got a free donut and coffee when I joined, which I thought was really cool. So I arrived at a 7-Eleven. I was putting in my petrol, and I went inside and got a coffee and a free donut. But I did save nearly $4 because in that week that I had locked in, the petrol price went mad. It went up by about 12 cents. So I saved about $3.80 on my full. And it was a big full. It was literally empty to full. So that's why I wanted to make it an app of the week. It is good. It does create brand loyalty, which is not a bad thing. To the guys at 7-Eleven, and I will be tagging you as I always do, if you could make it the top 10 petrol stations in my area, probably give you a little bit more brand love. But from an app, from a UI, 4 out of 5 from me.
Yep. Now, the other thing that's really cool is it does have the deals.
Yes, they're deals.
The deals are on there. When you sign up, you can get a
Slurpees.
You can get a free donut and a coffee. And if you are a frequent user of 7-Eleven, you do know that their petrol is quite decent. I
think it's mobile.
Look, I'm going to rate it. It's a good app. If you do like 7-Eleven, you buy their products, go for it, download it. Way to go. Boom.
Cool. Done. So, I don't think we've done screens with a Z for a while.
We have one.
Did we do a screens with a Z? I think we did tech news last week. Well, we're doing screens with a Z. Screens with a Z.
Sure.
So, this one's actually a little bit of a coup for the technology show. Our friends over at Alcatel sent us a 3B to play with. The phone's not available in the country yet. So, nah.
First ever.
I must say that, so a little bit of a brand love story. My first mobile phone ever was an Alcatel HB160. It looked like a calculator, literally. It had a big solid body with the numbers on it and a little green line screen like a calculator with a pull-up aerial.
Yeah, the old school.
Yeah, and I had about an hour battery life. Yeah. So amazing device. Be that as it might.
How far have they come?
Shit, a long way.
Look, this little baby. I'm sitting on a $1,000 plus phone from Samsung. It's got the stylus. It's got an incredible camera. It's got everything you'd want from a feature phone, or a flagship phone from a name brand mobile company. And Alcatel is a name brand mobile.
Well, I think they're the third biggest phone in Australia through their OEM channel as well.
Yeah. Now, if you compare apples to apples, it's
or
not
apples to Samsung.
Apples to Samsung.
Or apples to Alcatel.
Well, for one thing, they don't have reports of exploding phones. But
True.
Outside of that, you take this handset and you compare it. It's not the same phone.
No.
You're not going to get the same speed.
But
You're not going to get the same. The screen is quite big,
Yep.
right? And we'll talk about that in a sec. But why is this an incredible phone?
So I think I'm going to start off at price, which I wouldn't normally do. We don't know what the final price is, but from what I've seen online and what was announced at Barcelona when they launched the phone, we're looking at about a $200 or below phone. Okay, so first of all, that's something to bear in mind. Now when I start talking about the specs, and we're talking about $200 or less, okay, 6-inch 18:9 ratio. Now the 18:9 ratio platform is what all the new feature phones have got. The iPhone 10 started it. I think your Samsung's got it, and definitely the S9 has got it. The new Huawei has got it. So 18:9 ratio means bigger screen, bigger realty, more cost in producing the glass.
Yep.
It's 2K, so not 4K, but 2K it's still pretty decent. Quad core. Here's where it gets really interesting. On a sub $200 phone, 16 megapixel. I'm thinking about
Dude,
hamburger
we're
day.
definitely doing megapixel.
Okay? Megapixel. A 16 megapixel plus 2 megapixel rear camera. So dual cameras on the back.
Yep.
Okay. 8 megapixels on the front and face recognition to unlock.
Yep.
I must tell you, it was as fast as the iPhone 10. I lifted it up, it unlocked. It has finger unlocking as well. What do you call it? Touch ID on the back. So well positioned, like the Google Pixel, same place below the camera. It's only got 16 gigs memory and 2 gigs of RAM, which 2 gigs of RAM is fine on quad core, but it does take an SD card. So you're not handbrake with 16 gigs. Because a lot of the cheap phones give you 16 gigs. That's it.
Yep.
There's no expansion slot.
Yep.
3000 milliamp battery. That's as big as and as good as any of the other feature phones out there. And it's running Android 8. So again, price point. It comes with a free little bumper, like a clear bumper case inside it.
Yep.
So you can still protect you don't have to buy a case. That's what I'm getting to. I must say the earphones were just very cheap little earbuds. They were nothing special.
Did you just say Android 8?
Android 8. What?
Clearly, our friend Brett here is not in the Android world. It's Android O for Oreo.
Well, it's still.
Yeah,
it is 8 though.
We don't call it 8.
But it is 8.
Yeah, we don't call it that.
Yeah, obviously. I'm just showing a sign of intelligence, not being an
Yeah.
O
So
for Oreo.
For Android users, it's Android O, and the beauty of it is that while it does have some Alcatel apps built into it, you do not have a bloatware and
That was the last point I was
Right.
going to make. There was no bloatware there.
Yeah.
Those apps, I think, also because of the testing phase,
Yep.
I don't think you would get those. Each network will vanilla as it needs to.
Total, and it's also a couple games, so it's not even a big deal there. I think the most important thing is that the Android experience is about as plain Jane vanilla as you can get it.
Yep.
So there's no extra bits
Which
and
for
pieces.
a purist you want, right?
It just makes life easier.
Okay. I'm gonna say now that for your first phone, so maybe a younger person, and or an older person that's now being moved off their feature phone onto a smartphone by their kids, so like your 60-year-old plus or your 15 to 25-year-old, you are not going to go wrong with this device. You're not going to be upset. I think anyone in any age group wouldn't be upset, but if you've used a very high-end device, you're going to try and find the issues, and that's what you and I do. We sit there and go, oh, well, it's not as fast as this, or it doesn't do that. But if I had to say from a package point of view, except for the earphones, and you know what, people buy their own earphones anyway. They buy Bluetooth headsets.
Absolutely.
Other than that, I could not fault the little device. Well, it's a big device actually. It's a 6-inch.
It's a 6-inch 1918
Oh,
by
micro USB-C as well.
Yep.
So they've adopted the C. No, it's not. It's micro USB.
It's micro USB.
Micro
it's
USB. So they haven't
yeah,
adopted C.
Yeah. Now, the point you just made is really important. How much is the entry-level iPhone 6 or iPhone 8?
Upwards of $700.
Right.
So $600. $700. Yeah.
So to get in anything close on an iPhone, you're going to have to go for refurbished 6.
Yeah.
Right. Which
No,
is
even
still
still then it's 400.
Still 400 plus,
Yep.
right? And so 200 you get pretty much the massive screen. You're getting really good quality screen. You're getting
Pictures were good.
quite a decent camera.
Yeah, pictures were good.
If you're using, Bluetooth or an external headset, you're going to get the sound. So as an entertainment device, kids,
Yep.
it's one of those ones where you don't have to look that far to get actually decent quality. And when you compare this even to the OnePlus 6, that is not OnePlus X6 that has just come out, which is around $600-$700.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's supposed to be the Samsung killer.
That's a Samsung killer, but you're still $500 more expensive than this. So Alcatel, they're not aiming to compete against,
and they're honest
the
about
S9
that.
and
That's
this.
what's
They know that.
I was going to say to you, because you're an Android user and you have been forever.
Yeah.
Okay. Given take away the fact that you've always used top of the range, but I know you've dabbled and you've played, and you mentioned like OnePlus X. The other brand is Honor. You get your ZTEs, etc. Where does it sit? Up there, mid? How would you rate it?
If I was given this phone as a work phone, I would be more than happy.
Well, then that's an accolade.
Absolutely.
So there it is.
If it was handed to me and said, this is what you have to use, I'd be like, sweet.
Okay.
No complaints.
So then, if we're going to go out of 10, because some people love NPS and ratings, where are we sitting? Again, middle. It's a mid-range phone, right? That's what they've advertised it as.
For what it is and for what's available and from a trustworthy brand, I give it up, up around the 8.5, I suppose.
Okay, well, 8.5, I think that's good on any scale. So, thanks Alcatel. We did love playing, and please send more toys.
Screens with a Z. Moving on, it's time for
extended reality.
Extended reality.
And we got the sound effects drilling outside, man. We got this whole thing going.
That's it.
I'm light on AR this week, I must be honest, but I am going to start off with an XR. They actually had it filed under virtual reality, and I can see why, because it's designed for virtual reality. But I really, really do like this. It's called Sensix, Sensiks, and it's been developed as a sensory reality pod. So they are throwing another thing in there, SR. But before we roll our eyes, it's to enhance the VR experience. So it's an Amsterdam-based startup.
Right
they use
there.
a booth.
In Amsterdam, red light district.
No, this is what's so cool. So here we go.
So this isn't red light district, Triple X.
Nothing that I would be looking up. No.
Okay.
All good and clean. It uses a booth that can emit heat, wind, smell, extra sound effects, and vibrations.
And this is AR.
No, it's XR. They call it SR, sensory reality.
But you're going to be wearing a VR headset.
You're going to be wearing, so that's what they say.
So it's really VR.
So they've done it with Oculus Rift. They're using the Oculus Rift for now. Focused on, and the idea behind it is that if you're sitting inside a VR environment in the woods, or not in the woods, you're driving in a car, that sound, or on a motorbike, the sound in the wind, you will now be able to feel the sound in the wind as well. Now we've talked about this before, that although you take Big Blue, Deep Blue, that's one of the things that everyone goes to on the Vive. Okay, when you're diving down into the bottom of the ocean, you'd want to hear yourself breathing and the water and all those other wonderful things. Now you could actually feel the cold. They could probably even spray mist on you as well to give you a almost wet feeling. You rolling your eyes, I like it. I kind of find it a bit exciting that they're thinking that way.
This is if you see any of the 7D or 9D or 11D amusement park experiences where you're wearing
same kind of thing.
Gear VR, you're on a motion
7D,
right?
11D.
No. Go down to
you're right.
Darling Harbor. But I mean, so I love the idea. What I'm rolling my eyes at is that someone's trying to muddy the naming convention again. This is VR. Hands down. If you're using an Oculus and you're in an immersive experience, you're either immersed or you're not. You're either augmenting the reality you're in and you're seeing.
But if you're adding to it,
that's AR. Then
it's AR. So then this would be AR because you're augmenting a VR experience.
No, VR is immersive, 360. You're immersed in the headset.
Yes.
So you're wearing.
But you would still be without the pod.
No. You're wearing VR, so just be very, very simple. VR is virtual reality, 100% immersive. You can't see anything outside.
Well, that's why they filed it under VR.
Okay.
But they're calling it SR.
And then, so they can go put that in a pipe and smoke it in Amsterdam.
They're from Amsterdam, right?
So go ahead and go play that game. But I mean, in terms of adding those non-visual experiences, right?
Yes.
Touch, taste, smell, sound. These are all absolutely going to happen. But I think for our benefit and for our listeners'
It's
benefit,
VR.
we got to stick to that. It's
Okay,
VR,
it's VR.
right? I mean, Microsoft already going with MR, and we're XR. And so XR is the entire group of it, extended reality, and that works.
So
right?
can it be SVR?
No. No.
I'm trying to help the Amsterdam people.
God, no. Look, great product.
Moving I
Great
liked
product.
it.
So I've got proper AR.
Okay, good, because I don't really have much in the AR space this week.
So there's a group of Dungeons and Dragons enthusiasts.
Oh, God.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
Elder Games have developed a board game that is basically Dungeons and Dragons, but using AR. So
now you can finally see the shit that's going on in your head. Because that's what Dungeons and Dragons was.
It would be. So it uses discs, and it's smartphone based or tablet based, but using discs that then activate the characters. And if you've seen some of the Lego, I think it is Lego. And characters,
Lego. There's a name
called.
for it, man.
Yeah, Cade would know, right?
It's like Connect or something like that. Yeah, there's
so it's that kind of experience where when you put the two discs there and then you roll the dice, there's an interactive experience, so you actually see the characters fight each other.
Yeah, they do that in Ninjago, and it's that stuff.
It's
yeah,
that
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know, but for the, I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard Dungeons and Dragons.
Do you know anyone that plays Dungeons and Dragons?
Not
Do you?
now.
Grant? Maybe
it's
in his head.
I think it's pockets of pockets of nerddom.
Yeah,
no offense. Look, being a nerd and it's cool these days, so it's fine.
No, being a geek is cool. Being a nerd is still being a nerd, right?
Oh man.
So we've got that.
So I do have one other AR piece.
Oh, no, you can go for it.
So Melbourne has
down the road.
Yep. The Melbourne Council had developed a redevelopment tool that uses AR to see what cities and towns will look like. It's called WinLens, WYNLENS. It's a tool for developers and residents to visualize. Initially, it was this $250 million development in the Werribee City Centre. It uses Microsoft HoloLens to actually see the construction, see what it's going to look like. And so they've now said, let's build it out and make it available for other developments.
Do we need it?
If you were sitting there in the developer space, imagine you got a massive table in front of you and you want to see what the construction looks like. And it's that ability to share.
I suppose it also allows for you to not be sitting there and just put on a HoloLens and then be there, right?
So that would be VR. This is Microsoft. This is HoloLens.
Oh,
so it's
HoloLens.
MR. Yeah. So, but what it is, I mean, HoloLens. The whole idea of HoloLens and Meta is it's about creating that hologram experience.
Yeah.
So you see something that's like in front of you versus
being there and seeing it through your device.
Yeah, and it's that difference of moving from using your phone as the viewfinder to see what's happening in that augmented space to a headset. As soon as we get the hardware down in scale and make it tetherless and on its own, that MR story will just be called AR again. But until then...
Funny you should mention that. From our friends over at HTC. They've just announced a major update to the Vive Focus. Now, you were talking about MR now. Vive Focus is an MR headset.
Yep.
They have this whole thing going on in China. Next week, I think it is a symposium. But the system update now allows you to receive calls and messages when paired with the new U12 Plus.
That's right.
I actually saw an announcement on that the other day. The other features include surroundings mode, so that lets users toggle to see through the screen, in passenger mode, which prevents motion sickness from using VR. So if you're on a plane or in a vehicle. Now, you always have a bash at Apple about the ecosystem. It looks like HTC is taking a page out of their book. This only works with their device on their headset. You see where I'm going with this? they basically
he's
trying to
giving me this
close.
look. If you could see Brett's face.
But I'm just saying, like, we keep talking
this.
about the open platform.
It's like I told
And
you so.
all
on the
these
t-shirt.
developers are now doing the same thing. They're just creating these little ecosystems. So you'll be sitting with your HTC, and I'll be sitting with my Apple, and we won't be doing anything in a virtual world.
So it is and it isn't. To clarify, every single 3DOF, when we talk about degrees of freedom, every single 3 degrees of freedom platform prior to the Oculus Go required a mobile handset to be put into it.
Yes.
Oculus Go has everything built in. All you need to do is pair it with a handset to create the initial connection with the internet, and then everything's on its own. Now, the Vive Focus is similar, but it's 6 degrees of freedom, but it's all built in. It doesn't require the HTC U12.
No, it doesn't,
separate,
but I'm saying it's like what Samsung did. If you have a Samsung, you can get more.
Right.
If you don't, sorry.
However, Samsung Odyssey runs on Windows. HTC Vive and the Vive Pro connect with
Stuff.
Well, a PC or a Mac that has a high enough capability. So I see what you're saying about the within its own ecosystem, and that's, maybe we'll see that coming along. It would be interesting to have a chat with our friend Alvin Graylin Wang from
just to see.
Alvin Wang Graylin, sorry. At HTC to see what he says. We should actually try to get him on the show.
We should.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay with motion sickness. Now, we mentioned motion sickness a couple of weeks ago when Apple filed that patent for the passenger in the car. LG and the Sogang University, I know I didn't pronounce that correctly. It's probably Korean, so it's probably like Sogang or something like that, but I'm sorry. They've just designed a very, very deep learning algorithm that converts low-resolution images into higher resolution in real time. Now, I love this part. This helps resolve motion to photon latency. So, no, wait. Motion to photon. Let's just say it because it sounds cool, right?
Okay.
But basically the idea is that by increasing the image speed in line with what you would see in real time, they're saying you will decrease your motion sickness.
Sure.
It's an interesting angle, that. So they're basically saying, don't worry about being in the headset, don't worry about what you're doing. If we can make sure that your brain sees in the same time that it would see, because when you move your head, it has to re-render, and they're saying the motion to photon rendering will be enhanced to take a low res, and even if it's blurry, it will still be at real-time speed. So it's a different angle.
Yeah, this is an issue that I've heard complaints about the experience with, oddly enough named Zero Latency, which is the game in Melbourne.
That is
right, but that actually has quite a bit of latency, and because it's using the PlayStation technology, the bulbs hanging from the roof, sometimes like you'll be walking straight and like everything will flip, or like you turn your head and then like 3 seconds later
and that's what makes you sick, right?
Absolutely. I've got, and speaking of the gaming, I've got 3 different examples or things.
3?
They're sort of there.
That's greedy.
Well, 2 are connected, and then I'll bounce back and forth. One is VR Studios has a new wireless multiplayer VR system for location-based arcades. It's called the VRCade, VRCADE Atom, ATOM. And basically, they produce virtual reality arcades. You can invest and get the whole kit and get multiple kits. So they, let's say 10 stations. This is a one-off station that you could buy and release in a single place. And so it's, I'm not sure if it's like, to be honest, I'm not sure if it's Vive or if it's Oculus or what they're using.
Probably Vive, though,
I guess it's
Vive.
That
seems to be the mainstay.
And then another one that we've been looking at is the Live, L-I-V,
Yep.
which is a virtual reality spectating sport. So it's basically a green screen room, so that someone who's playing a game or any kind of esports or something in the space, you can actually capture their body and pull them out, so people that are spectating and watching from either within virtual reality or externally can enjoy that experience and see the person in there. And so you're capturing that experience. And the reason why it's interesting, and I saw a couple demos of this, there was a girl dressed in, what's it called, manga? Or
Yeah. Like the whole manga, hentai.
Yeah, she's dressed like that, and she was doing Beat Saber. Cosplay. So she was fully decked out as like this ninja teenage girl. style thing, but she was really moving, like she's really dancing and smooth, and it was really cool to watch. And having just played Beat Saber over this last weekend, I can understand the skill, her skill level.
There goes the drill.
Vibration has gone.
So now that you've finished with your cosplay Beat Saber fetish, I'm going to take you to church, to the VR church.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, here we go. Had to come, right? So the VR church, that's what they call themselves, hosted I can't believe this is news, hosted the first ever VR baptism ceremony.
I heard about this.
So the VR church exists on Altspace, which is a VR platform.
Yep.
We've mentioned them before.
Yep.
And more than 100 people from all over the world attended the baptism of 2 virtual attendees. And thankfully the ceremony was performed by the pastor DJ Soto. So there are 100 people out there that need to get lives because they watch the baptism of virtual people. Not even real people that they know getting baptized in VR.
No, virtual people. So this
Sorry.
I have to ask, did the church count? Is it Catholic church? Is it a Christian church? Like, and did they count it? Like, does this count?
That's actually a very good question.
Right? It's like,
so the rights of virtual it wouldn't count because they're not real people. But the question that you're asking is, what happens if I'd put on a headset, went to Altspace, went to the church, and got the DJ, Pastor Sato, whatever he's called, to baptize me? Nice Jewish boy getting baptized, but yeah, get him to baptize me. Would that count in the real world? Because
yeah, that's the question.
No, because there's no holy water sprayed all over my head.
So
how do you dunk me?
So could they? Okay.
Mind you, they've just taken the vote to get rid of abortion laws in Ireland, so stranger things could happen, right?
And that, like if a bar mitzvah took place virtually. And
that's a great question.
And the reason why it's really a question is 100 people from around the world can go and join the experience, anyone, anywhere. Why wouldn't it count?
So I think I could answer that question. I'm actually going to ask my rabbi because, as you know, we're planning. I've got like a year to go. I'm going to say bar mitzvah. We nice Jewish boys, let's talk bar mitzvahs and not baptisms because I've never been baptized. But if the bar mitzvah boy stood in a synagogue and did his bar mitzvah in real time with a headset on, or with cameras on rather, to put him into an Altspace or whatever the hosting environment is. There's lots. There's Twitch. There's lots of them spaces, and people watched it. Then I would say it has to count, right? The problem is you're not allowed to take technology into the synagogue, so that would be the conundrum. But then maybe change to a reform synagogue.
Yeah.
So there you can take technology,
and so
it would count.
So take it a step further in that reformed space. If you had a rabbi bless the digital land,
avatar or area,
well, the land that the digital synagogue is built on, could it then be able to conduct those religious ceremonies?
Sure, I don't know because
if you can get married, there's certainly been weddings in VR, and those weddings
they still sign the piece of paper in real life though afterwards.
Are they?
No, I don't know. And I'm saying, do they still sign the paper in the real world afterwards?
If I can use DocuSign to have my digital signature, which acts as a
that's also true. It's virtual
accepted instrument. Yeah, then why couldn't you? This is going.
Hey Sophia, if you're listening, will you marry me? Actually, she's got a passport. No, I don't. Wow, we're going down a really, really difficult spiral.
It's moving fast. I think we need to ask Penny, because she certainly has had this conversation and knows people.
Penny Wong, we're going to tag you up on this conversation. Yep. You're going to have to answer that question. You got one.
I have a quick one, yeah. So, and this is actually really cool. A Netherlands-based theme park has created a VR experience that allows disabled visitors to enjoy the roller coaster.
Now that is cool.
Yeah.
Do you have to smoke anything first?
No, you don't. But basically what it does is it accommodates people in wheelchairs who aren't able to access the attraction.
That is cool.
It's called Droomvlucht, Dromvlucht, which means...
It's Droomvlucht.
Droomvlucht, well, there you go.
Dream flight. It means dream flight in English.
There you go, man.
Droomvlucht.
And this is at the Efteling Park.
Efteling.
And Efteling, yeah. So what they've done is they built a VR version of the Dream Flight ride so that people in wheelchairs can enjoy it.
That is cool. I like that.
Fantastic.
Good to them.
Yeah, more power to them, absolutely.
Good to them. Okay, so staying with Warm and Fuzzies, and I'm going to go to this one because it's got such a cool name. Marshmallow Laser Feast. How's that? So Marshmallow Laser Feast have developed a new VR experience that lets their users explore a forest through the eyes of different animals. So it's a London-based design studio, and they created the project called In the Eyes of the Animal to help people reconnect with nature using Umwelt. I don't know what Umwelt is, but it says here it's a concept that refers to the world as it is experienced by a particular organism. So they'd had to go and get all weird and technical on us. If we're not drilling, we got weird robot sounds. The project has mapped a forest landscape using 360 degrees scanning and manipulated to show how various animals would see the environment. Marshmallow Laser Feast added other effects to the experience, including the feel of the forest floor, the smell of damp soil, and a sound wave backpack to mimic the noise of frogs or dragonflies.
Nice.
Now, as a parent, I'm always trying to get my kid outside, which we all are, but we can't get them to leave their precious devices behind. This actually might be a way of getting them outdoors, because what they do, it's you go and sit in an outdoor environment, so you can feel the soil on your feet and the backpack and all that. So you can actually.
Well,
they talk about that.
Headset?
They call that grounding. If you actually touch the earth and you get the energy from the earth, there's people that have this whole thing about grounding, but you're actually going outdoors to experience outdoors in VR. So you still have your tech. I know we haven't got away from that, but equally, if people can't get outside or they live in urban jungles, that's a nice escape.
So this, if it's a 360 camera, then you're wearing probably targeting a 3 degree of freedom.
No, this is proper VR. You can move around on this. That's why they give you the backpack.
But how does it work if it's the 360 camera? 'Cause you have to.
No, they've mapped in 360. They've mapped the area in 360. So the whole landscape that they've mapped out was mapped out in 360, and then you get immersed into it. They're just saying the way they've recorded it was in a full 360 dome. It's terminology. They've built an environment. But you wear a backpack, so you can move. It's similar to the backpack computers we played on the other day.
Is this a location-based thing?
Location-based.
So you actually
you're in a place.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you don't do this at home.
Okay.
So you'd go to this place and you'd feel the forest under your feet, and so instead of carpets or tiles, there'll be dirt, soil. You know.
If you took a 3 degrees of freedom, if you took a Samsung Gear VR or a Daydream,
do the same type of thing.
Just go outside. The only challenge you have is
walking
light.
to walls.
No. Like go sit in the grass, right, or something like that. Since you mentioned this kind of natural experience, NASA Virtual Exoplanet Tours has launched, and it lets anyone vacation in space. So you get to sit down on some far-off planet that they've digitized. You can see it with an atmosphere, without an atmosphere. But it's really cool to be able to enjoy planetary exploration.
Planetary exploration.
Yeah, and I think it's one planet now, but they'll be adding more.
Do I go into conspiracy theories here? Because Gail sent me a clip on Facebook about how we never went to the moon. You know that old adage of the
another
moon?
one with the okay.
Well, this one was quite cool. NASA actually tells you, the commentary is from NASA themselves, how we haven't broken through the thermal layer or something because we'd melt, and yet we did it 60 years ago when we didn't have the tech to do it today. Just a thought. Anyway, I won't go down that route yet.
Well, Jeff Bezos from Amazon wants to colonize the moon, so there you go.
Good luck to him. Him and Elon can fight their ways there. I have one more that is relevant, given the fact that we've just had the laws passed now on bicycles and overtaking bicycles at 1.5 meters. So people, if you are living in New South Wales, that is now law. They've been testing it for a while, but you have to now pass a bicycle rider at 1.5 meters, which is a good thing. So Ford, as in the motor car company, produced a VR experience that allows cyclists and vehicle drivers to see the dangers of not sharing the road properly. They call it wheel swap, and uses a cyclist perspective to show drivers passing too closely or failing to signal and opening a car door without checking for bikes. The experience also uses a driver's perspective to show cyclists running red lights, biking the wrong way down a street, swerving unexpectedly, etc. So basically, everyone's at fault. You can't just say, oh, it's cars that are bad for bicycles. I've watched that. When I walk to the station in the morning, these idiots on their bicycles come down the path. Same as a car and a bicycle have this little war of the roads. Pedestrians on the pavements and bicycles have the same walk. Walking along next to me, the guy comes flying past me, and I'm expected to bail.
Yeah,
you know,
But
I do like it. Wheel Swap's also available on YouTube, so they've put into their company's free driver training program. And shout out to the local Ford guys. You know, you've developed obviously it's an American thing. They've developed the tech. There's a marketing campaign, man. You know, as Ford Australia, they should be sharing Wheel Swap. So maybe they will. But I like it. It's good.
I do like it.
I think that's me on VR. Have you got anything else on VR? Or anything on XR?
I always do, but I'll save it.
I think I've got one AR, and I've got this just for you.
Okay.
Disney. Or Disney Pixar, to be correct, have introduced their new AR emojis that turn selfies into talking animated characters of all 5 members of the superhero clan, The Incredibles.
For the movie
it's
coming
for their
out.
launch of, but it's only available on the S9. But I know you'll be upgrading eventually once they bring out one with a little stick, because your 10 styluses on your fingers aren't good enough.
News about the Note 9's out. I'm probably going to wait, but it does
You
sound
should.
pretty
It might
sweet.
blow up soon, especially with Incredibles on it.
It's not going to blow up.
So that's me. XR, done.
One more time. The week has passed 7 days, and I have been waiting
7 days
for
in
this
a week?
moment. 7 days in a week, and I've
Wow.
been waiting for this moment.
It must be that moment, that special moment.
There is no other moment.
The A and B split test.
That's it.
So this is an interesting one, and I think it's one that people banter around a lot, but I wanted to try and help everyone define it. We were going to put malware up against viruses, but I think what's important for people to actually realize is that a virus, and I'm not talking about the thing that you get from sitting on a dodgy toilet seat, I'm talking about computer viruses. This is the technology show after all, but a virus is actually malware. So I'm going to read you a definition, and then let's unpack the different types.
Okay.
So the viruses are specific types of malware, which I've just said, and they're designed to replicate and spread. Malware is a broad term used to describe all the sorts of unwanted viruses or malicious code. And malware can include viruses, spyware, adware, nagware. Oh, my mother-in-law's here. Trojans, worms, and more. So now with that little overview, I think it is important to actually unpack the different types of the A and B. Now this is going to be an A and B where we're not choosing a winner. Okay, we really don't want either of this.
I mean, if I was evil, I'd choose malware over viruses, because malware is everything, and a virus is a subtype. Yeah, it's the big one.
I think there's the important ones to unpack though. Let's start with adware.
Well, there's one you didn't mention, and
Which
I think
is?
it's one that's come up. Ransomware.
Oh, ransomware. I didn't mention for a reason.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that in as
It's
the last minute one. Yeah, that's it. Do you want to start with ransomware? Because you mentioned it.
It's the latest, scariest one, and ransomware is basically malware that's designed to infect a user's system and encrypt the data, and then it holds you ransom. So until you actually pay money or do an action that they can record and track. There's been a lot of ransomware sent out around Bitcoin, around cryptocurrency, when someone loses their key, and it's scary.
We're laughing, but it is scary.
There's been some massive ransomware attacks.
So I'm gonna give you my little thinking thought process on ransomware. If you a big corporate and or small company, and you become foul and a victim of ransomware, you're an idiot. Now everyone's going to turn and go, well, that's a bit harsh, but it's true. Ransomware stops you accessing your files. These are files that you've created on your machines. Everyone said, all you have to do is wipe out your machine and start again. Yes, you can do that, and then you've lost your data.
Yep.
Separate backup people. It's that simple. Make backups of your precious stuff somewhere that's not part of your other backup or your main server, and when the guys take control of your machines or your servers, give them the middle finger. Say, thanks, and it's time for the annual spring clean. Wipe the devices out and put your fresh installation back on. Now, I know it's not as simple as that, but that's definitely a good rule of thumb.
Yep.
Is that don't just rely on one backup. That's just stupid. What happens when that backup dies or that drive stops working? We spoke about your CD collection. CDs deteriorate. The little foil inside the disc actually decays.
Yep.
And we don't have CD writers or readers anymore anyway in our devices.
Yep.
So it is serious. I would never, ever pay ransomware to anyone. Once they've got you once, they're coming back.
Yep.
So my advice, if you fall victim, I'm really sorry. Go and find your external backup that's sitting in a safe somewhere on a hard drive and reinstall.
Yep. Back to the top of the list,
Yes.
a virus. Everyone hears about viruses, right?
Yeah.
And the technical definition of a virus is a malicious program that can execute itself and spread itself by infecting other programs or files.
On a Windows machine.
We proved already that it works on Macs.
Only for a very limited time, and then the update closes it on a Windows machine.
Not true. I would use expletives here, but I maintain a higher level of decency. So viruses can infect any and every device out there.
Cam, have you ever had a virus on a Mac?
I don't own a Mac.
You don't own a Mac? Aren't you working on a Mac?
Yeah, but I don't own it.
Oh, okay. Have you ever had a virus on that Mac?
No.
Neither have I. Anyway.
I'm not even going to go there.
No, you're right. It's an executable, though. I think the
Yeah.
most important thing about a virus is antivirus software. It's so easy. It really is.
The problem with antivirus software, and this is where, as a Windows owner, I just can't stand it.
Because it
is
actually limits your machine and what you can and can't
It
do.
limits your machine, and every single antivirus software gets you to try to pay more for more features.
Yeah, that's
Unless
also
you
true.
pay for the full amount, which gets to be really high, you're always... There's threats. There's
Have
something
you watched
can't detect.
Gringo about John McAfee
I have
on
not yet,
Netflix? Oh my, watch that. Now you know where he gets all his money from or why.
Yeah.
It's like set a thief to catch a thief.
Yeah.
Really? Watch that movie. Gringo.
Terrible.
El Gringo or
Terrible.
The Gringo or something.
Now, a worm...
A worm. Yes, I was
Is-
going to say it. That's another one. Go for it. No.
A worm is a type of malware that can self-replicate without a host program. So
That's the problem.
Yeah, it will spread without any human interaction. So if you download a worm, it can replicate itself. It doesn't actually have to. It's not based on if you execute something. Now, those of you who just open any email and open every attachment you get, you're asking for trouble.
Yes.
If you don't know who sent it to you, probably don't open it. If you do know who sent it to you, probably have a look at what's on there.
Correct.
Don't
They
just
can
go
clone,
opening
right?
files. Yeah,
So that
that's
was what-
a huge one.
I was going to talk about, you talking about the worm, I was going to talk about the Trojan.
Yeah.
So like in Troy, 500 years ago or 5,000 years ago, whatever it was, a Trojan is when a file comes to you under guise of something else.
Yep.
If you have not entered a competition, we spoke about this last week, you have not won. Do not click the button. It's a Trojan. The other thing with Trojans, that is a problem, is once it opens the door, the back door as they call it, guys can come into your machine from anywhere. So I know we're doing it as an A and B split and we should have an outcome. I think the very simple thing is, if you're going to go to sites you shouldn't be going to, so this is not even about emails coming through and that, but if you're looking to download content for free of torrent sites or dodgy sites,
Yep.
the chances are that that content is going to come down in a folder, and inside that folder will be the content you're looking for, as well as something you're not looking for.
Yep.
So to save the $10 of getting the movie for free, it might be better to spend the $10 and not get something else for free as well.
Yep. Now, the reason why we're bringing this up is because it's not like the old days where there's a set number of viruses, you have virus software on your computer and you can block it. There are backdoor viruses or rootkit viruses that allow people to actually log onto your computer from an external location and begin making changes in your system. There are viruses you download that give someone administrative access to your system or to your network.
Yes.
Now, if you're on a network and, like an office or a school system, you really have to be careful and make sure that everything that you're doing, you do have virus protection, you are protected, and, if you notice that something strange is happening, raise your hand, speak up, because things can happen.
I
you
think
can
that's
lose
so
everything
important.
there.
Yep, so important, and especially the way we all live network lives. If you've got one dodgy character working in your company, watch him or her, because if they bring something in, especially a worm or a Trojan, or even worse, we didn't talk about the DDoS. What's a dedicated denial of services attack?
Yep.
A DDoS attack is when you turn on your computer and a gazillion million windows just start opening, or numbers start flying all over your screen, or little balls start bouncing. That is a virus.
Yep.
Now, if it hits your machine and you're on a network and you have a shared folder or you have a shared network key, chances are you can pass it on. Like flu, it just passes through the network.
Yep.
So you can think you're fixing one machine, but meantime it's sitting on the others.
Yep.
So just think before you click, and if it's free, maybe it's not.
Yep.
Kind of.
We won't talk about it today, but there's a linked topic which is around what's called invalid traffic.
Yes, that's something
Right.
we should talk about.
And
not today.
Not today. Invalid traffic. If you are a website owner and you have advertising on your site, you do have bots or crawlers coming in to understand what's on your website. Google sends out bots, and that's how it learns about what's on your site. There are also malicious bots. There are bots who want to take over money, and if I can actually make money off of your property, the same way as if I go steal apples from your tree.
Yep.
And that's
Same thing.
Unfortunately, it's getting easier and easier to do. They're getting more and more sophisticated ways of doing that.
Well, we don't have a guest today.
No.
And probably a good thing,
I
because
think
we're really at the end of our show
already there.
anyway. But I think it's a topic we should continue.
Yep.
Guys, hit us up on Twitter, email us, info@eaglewavesradio.com.au. Twitter is at @T_knowledgy.
KNOWLEDGY.
Why? Because you gotta
Gotta know.
make recommendations, ask comments. We're happy to talk about it, man. It's your show as much as ours.
Shout out to Alcatel.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next toys. Until next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.
Thanks for listening to our latest episode of The Technology Show. Remember, for more episodes, hop onto eaglewavesradio.com.au, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Catch you next time.